This evening's conversation is in partnership with Panuku, Auckland Council's urban regeneration agency, tasked with creating amazing places. Panuku works across several neighbourhoods using its place-led regenerative approach to enable thriving town centres. This whole of systems approach focuses on the unique identity of a place, bringing together community, urban living, healthy natural systems, looking at integrated transport and local economy in order to make a better place for everyone. Our work is not that dissimilar from the work of Salvador's agency in Barcelona, the Urban and Territorial Ecology Foundation. Their mission is to support urban ecosystems and has people and the laws of nature at the centre of its planning approach. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from Salvador shortly. Over the past couple of days, Salvador has spent time here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, getting to know a little bit more about this place. He definitely has a keen eye for data and has asked lots of really good questions. He shared something yesterday which really stuck with me, talking about the city as the most complex ecosystem that the human species has created. It's quite a big thing to digest. When working in this very much alive and living organism, the idea of viewing the city as an ecosystem is a core foundation of urban planning and placemaking, and is increasingly important for us to better understand our city in this way, especially now, considering the complex issues that our city centres, along with many cities all over the world, are facing with current social, economic, and environmental conditions. Complexity requires a multi-agency, multidisciplinary approach. And to do that, we need to work in new and innovative ways together. As Einstein said, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. The emerging field of regenerative design is starting to look at these complex problems, and in Tamaki Makaurau, we're uniquely placed with a significant number of people trained in this field, along with the support of our Indigenous partners. And what sets Aotearoa aside internationally is Te Ao Māori. Our mana whenua partners understand the intrinsic connectivity of people, place, and nature, and embed concepts of whakapapa and mauri across projects in our city. Recent examples of projects that put the health of people, place, and our natural systems at the heart are Te Ara Awataha in Northcote, the Puhunui Regeneration Program out south, and Te Ara Tukutuku, the waterfront park on Wynyard Point, where Salvador has been spending his time today. These projects all build on the unique natural environment, a luxury that we have here in Tamaki Makaurau. Barcelona is obviously a very different city and far more densely populated with a much older urban form and different topography. The topography informs its well-known orthogonal grid. And I think I can confidently say there's probably a bit more of Gaudi's work in Barcelona than here in Auckland. This ecosystem approach that Salvador will speak about and the concept of Superblocks has emerged out of working with this complexity and has inspired cities around the world. The traffic planning concept of Superblocks first originated in Barcelona, exploring ways to reduce emissions in one of the noisiest, most polluted, most trafficked cities in Europe. Intended to calm traffic in residential neighbourhoods, the approach has continued to provide multiple additional benefits beyond just calming traffic. And so, to introduce Salvador Rueda, he is one of the world's most significant urban ecologists. His work focuses on different aspects of the urban environment, an integrated and multidisciplinary perspective. His background is in biology and psychology, and he continues to champion participatory decision-making and the importance of the leading role and prioritization of humans when designing cities. He has been the coordinator of renovation and revitalization programs in the Ciutat Vella, the old city district of Barcelona. From 2000 to 2020, he's been the director of Urban Ecology Agency of Barcelona, where he has worked on a number of projects aimed at reorientating cities toward a more sustainable model. Salvador now advises on the implementations and these approaches across the world as the director of the Urban and Territorial Ecology Foundation. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Salvador Rueda.
Thank you, Rosanna. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. No paniora ahou, ko Salvador Rueda ahou, ko te, Fundación Ecología Urbana y Territorial, ko tu wahi mahi. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora, tatou. Thank you to the Auckland Conversations for this invitation. Today, for me, is an honor to stay here with you, and I hope you stay well with this Superblock concept, and I hope in the future Auckland change in the direction of a most sustainable city. This is the model splits of the main cities in New Zealand. Model splits, in that case, in Auckland, suppose the 83% of the trips made by car is not sustainable. Sorry, but it's 83% is a lot. It's a lot because if you want arrive to your destination by foot, the energy that you need is only the energy equivalent a domestic bulb of 150 watts. With a car is 6,000 more, but with energy non-renewable. Okay, we have a very huge problem. We will see how we can change something. And for this, I want today explain this Superblock concept in Barcelona city. And not only, I will use other cities over the world how are involved in that moment in the development of this concept. Unfortunately for us, still, the 85% of our streets are involved in displacement, in particular by car. 85% of the public space is huge. It's not sustainable. And the impact and dysfunctions that is coming with this kind of urban mobility model suppose a huge air pollution, noise, accidents, soil occupancy, energy consumed, emission of the greenhouse gases, etc., etc. Is not sustainable. For this, if we want to change this, we need another urban mobility model. The key in the city is the public space, and the mobility is one of the uses of the public space. But the public space is the key because it makes us citizens. We are citizens because we can stay in the public space, because the public space is the house of everybody. It's the house of everybody. At the end, like in Auckland, our streets are occupied by beton, concrete, and cars. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, our streets. And we need to change this current framework. For this, I propose develop a superblock model for a city. In particular, in Barcelona, was approved in 1915 for the city council, for the plenary of the city council, and approved this new model. If you analyze this map with this other, it's huge, the change. It means that we can release the 70% of the public space today related with mobility, in particular by car, to become streets for pedestrians. 70%, more than 2,500 streets. More than 7 million of square meters released. But how many traffic we need to reduce to get this? Only 15%. With only 15% less of traffic, we get 70% of public space for other uses, not for displacement, in particular by car. 70%, 15%. And the cost of this is very cheap. With tactical solutions, the cost to implement the 500 superblocks in Barcelona is only 300 million of euros. The budget of the City Council this year was 3.8 billion of euros. It's nothing. In 10 years, the investment that we need to implement the first year, the superblocks, is only 30 million of euros. What is 30 millions in comparison with 3.8 billion of euros? 0.0001. No, nothing. The superblock model is a network. Every city have a network, particularly network, because it's accommodated to the morphology and the characteristic of the main streets. But every city have a particular superblock model. It's a model because it's possible to spread and implement it in all the cities. All the cities. Because of ISA, in the moment we can say this is a model. In the other hand, this model wants to release the maximum surface today related with mobility, assuring the functionality and the organization of the city. And we get this, reducing only the 15% of the traffic. It's easy to understand, okay? Because it's not a traffic problem. And also, it's not an economic problem. It's a cultural problem. Cultural problem, it means our lifestyles are against of this kind of models. But the future is here. And the uncertainties are huge and very serious. In particular, the climate change. What will happen with our children in the future. If we don't make something today, it will be impossible to assure the future for them, even for us. This model wants, at the same time, to reduce the current dysfunctions, air pollution, noise, accidents, soil occupancy, energy consumed, etc., etc. Okay? If we want to develop the Superblock model, the first step is to redesign the public transport network. And this public transport network defines the perimeter of the Superblocks, because it's based in the public transport network, not in cars. Because the public transport network, if it is good, arrive at all the fabrics inside of the city and allow the accessibility of everybody. In that moment, in Auckland, the percentage of people without age license or cars perhaps is the 50%. They don't have the accessibility of the city assured. Needs someone to make the taxi driver in every family. It's not just for these people, okay? The public transport network, the best is orthogonal. We get this relationship between the surface released and this score of 15% of traffic less because of the orthogonal networks mathematically are the most efficient inside of the city. It's mathematical, okay? In the case of Barcelona, I redesigned the new public transport network and passed from 84 lines to 28. And the connectivity is better. It means the distance between a point to the stop, less of the 300 meters, is better. Practically the 99% of people have a stop at less of 300 meters. And the frequency of pass in the previous radial network was in average 15 minutes of frequency of pass. In the peripheria, more. With the new public transport network, orthogonal public transport network, the frequency of pass is between 4-5 minutes. 4-5 minutes like a metro, with the same number of buses. Attention. And at the end, we are looking for that the time waiting in a stop, in average, must be closer to 2 minutes, because our mind watch start to feeling that we are waiting after 2 minutes. Okay? Left below, we have the bicycle network. The public transport network is already made. The bicycle network also. And at right below, we have the streets in blue that become pedestrian. A Superblock, at left, we have the current situation where the cars go for everywhere. At right, the scheme is urban cell with 400 meters per 400 meters site in Barcelona, 16 hectares, where the black lines integrate the totality transport networks. It means public transport, bicycle, cars. Bicycle, if we have the section with the wider that we need, and sidewalks. At the end, we integrate in the black lines, integrate all the modes of transports to connect the different parts of the city. And inside in green, we have the pedestrian streets. But that streets are sharing with other uses. In particular, the car can go in and can arrive at all destinations in the facades of the ground floor. It means it's very flexible, the model. Everybody can arrive at your destination without problem. The constriction is that the cars can go through to the superblock. And with these loops, we can go in, but we can go out behind of the point where we can go in. At the end, it's stupid to go in if you don't have the destination inside of the superblock. It means the 95% of the cars don't go in because it's not intelligent. Inside also, the other constriction is 10 kilometers per hour. With 10 kilometers per hour, the old people, the blind people, the children, the vulnerable people can go in the middle of the street safely. This project put in the center of the planification people, the vulnerable people. If the vulnerable people is inside, means is a good planification, and the natural laws. We will see. But at the end, walking and bicycling, with bicycle, we can go in both directions inside of the superblock. This is a street in the perimeter, and this is the streets inside of the superblock. This concept are planified for Madrid, for Vitoria, for Granollers, for La Coruña, for Córdoba, for Malaga, for Bogota is the last. This site is 25 kilometers of superblocks per 8 kilometers. It's huge, okay? Quito, Buenos Aires, Asunción. We need to share the streets, okay? We need to cross the different maps in the time and to get this quantity of pedestrian streets. Today we have this. It's not bad, the quantity of streets, pedestrian streets in Barcelona, but is this the final scenario? And the image that we get is that it's already made this in Barcelona. We have 6 superblocks official and 31 that the politics perhaps they don't make this, and then they don't want recognize that we have 31 Superblocks. This is a tactical street inside of a superblock. This is a street at the end of the 70s. How is possible to change? Or how in our city, with this morphology, special morphology in the intersections, we have octagons, okay, of 2,000 square meters. We can get 163 new squares of 2,000 square meters without demolish any building. It's very cheap. And we pass from here to here. This is a tactical in Sant Antoni Superblock. It's very nice. It's very crowded of people. Different people in the different hours of the day. Children after they go out of the schools. What problems solve the Superblocks? We publish an article where we demonstrate the number of deaths, premature deaths, that we can avoid if we implement the Superblocks in Barcelona. 667 people we can avoid to death every year. Or this quantity, or this quantity of the problems with the asthma, the bronchitis, or the cardiovascular hospitalizations. Okay? And with this we can save every year because we reduce the invoice of health problems like this, or the number of days that the people can go work because are ill for these reasons. The 1.7 billion of euros every year. And the cost is 30 million of euros. The traffic accidents also will be reduced because at 10 kilometers per hour, practically we have no accidents, mortals or serious. In the perimeter, the speed is 30 kilometers per hour. It means we can reduce the 40% at least of the serious accidents by car. This is the huge change of the urban air pollution. Practically only 6% of the population will have a concentration of oxide azote over the 40 micrograms per cubic meter. Okay. In that moment is 44%. Or noise, or even the biodiversity. We can change cars for trees, and we can adapt our cities to the climate change because the trees project shadow, and we can also change the permeability of our pavements. It means 3 or 4 degrees less is key for us. For you, perhaps less, but for us is crucial. The heat island effect in Barcelona, in several days, can suppose 8 degrees in the center related with the periphery by night. With the Superblock project, we extend a green carpet in surface and in the roof. All is in green. And after that, the temperature of the materials after this proposed can be reduced in a 27%, is a lot. And also, with the project, we can reduce the 45% of the emissions of the greenhouse gases that we have like objective, like a city, for 2030. In that moment, we already have the score get. Because we pass from the 26% of the trips by car in our model split. In that moment, after the urban mobility model that I had the honor to redact for the city, is in that moment the 18% only. 18%. Oakland is 83%. The green infrastructure increase. This is one of the latest projects that we are making with Vitoria-Gasteiz City, and in the current situation, we have 47,000 trees in the streets, and we can add 33,000 more. Not bad. And we can develop these corridors, green corridors, connecting the different parts, main part around of the city that Vitoria-Gasteiz has a very, very good and very nice green belt. Connected in that case. In the case of Granollers City, in that moment they have 7,000 trees with the Superblocks. Is more than the double of the trees that we can plant. Practically all the streets can have trees in an alineation to provide us the shadow that we need. This is the main corridors for this city. Another thing very important is how we can increase the number of activities when we implement the Superblocks. In all the Superblocks implemented, at least the economic activity increased on 15%. But we have Superblocks with more than the 60% of new activities. From pedestrian to citizens is the most revolutionary aspect of the Superblock, because go to the root of the city. The city, we have city if we have public space. If not, not. If not, we have urbanizations. It's different. In the urbanization, doesn't happen. In the suburbs, doesn't happen. It's a desert. It's like a cemetery. In the public space, when we have a number enough of people and activities, it's very vibrant, it's vital, okay? We need to make also habitable with this kind of solutions. But at the end, the important thing is to pass from pedestrian to citizens. Why? Because currently, the planners, their maximum aspiration is to become streets with car in pedestrian streets. But a pedestrian is a mode of transport. The citizen is something more. The citizen can develop at the right scheme a lot of uses, not only displacement. The children can play once again in the street. Why not? With the Superblocks, we define the conditions to make safety the children and everybody. Okay? At the end, the entertainment, the exchange, the art, the culture, even the participatory process, the debate, the democratic debates in the public space is possible. And also the displacement, above all, by foot or bicycle. Yeah. And we can have something, we can get something like that. Or that. Or that. All is possible. The citizen rights explode. The uses in the public space make that our social contact is possible. Today is not possible. The debate in that case, in a Superblock, when we start the Poblenou Superblock, for example. And also, we have the movements, the displacements. Yeah, no problem. And I want to finish my intervention. I start with the words, Maori words. I want to finish with a Catalan word, okay? And for this, oh no, what is happening? Okay, it's coming? Yeah. This is Superilla is Superblock in Catalan. Thank you.